Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's a warm start for us this morning, but really going to start to feel like summer the next couple of days. We'll talk about what it will actually feel like and get you prepped for the U.S. Open coming up.
And North Carolina voting maps are under scrutiny for possible gerrymandering again. The hearing happening today on redistricting voting maps.
It's a quest to conquer Pinehurst number 2. Somebody's off to a good start here. 124th U.S. Open Championship has a Tiger on top right now as we take a look at the leaderboard here. Tiger Woods 1 under par after one hole. Okay, not going to jump to anything, but you know, when they figure this whole thing out, who will conquer it? Who will have their hands on that trophy on Sunday? I think he wants to have a say in that. Folks around here, they say it's a beautiful day in Pinehurst. I think Tiger Woods would agree right now, and it is lovely. As we get started here, I'm Jeff Hogan.
I'm Chris Lovingood, and we have Michelle McConaughey here as well. The quest to conquer Pinehurst. What a way to intro the U.S. Open there, Jeff. It's going to be a great day today, but a hot one too.
Yeah, it's going to be really hot, really important for all of those players and fans out there at Pinehurst to hydrate. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione shows us where we stand right now.
Yeah, we're starting off all right this morning. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s currently. 64 is our cool spot, at least relatively speaking, there in Roxborough. 71 around the Triangle. We currently sit at 71 in Southern Pines. Yes, it's going to be a little bit muggier than what we've seen the past couple of days, but this is not going to be where we could be during the summertime months, where you walk outside and it's just unbearable. You want to go back inside to the air conditioning. That will not be the case for us today. It's just going to be a little sticky, a little hot. You may want the sunscreen, the water, all those things the next couple days. Tomorrow may feel a little bit more uncomfortable, though. You see that actual air temperature at 94. It will feel like 97 to 98. So that's a day to definitely stay hydrated. We go into the low 90s there both Saturday and as we get into Sunday, but it will feel like those actual air temperatures you see right there. There's a closer look for you at the feels like value in the orange, 98 tomorrow. The rest of the days, that actual air temperature that you see basically feeling like that. We currently sit our muggy meter, though. Those are the dew points sitting at 65. Anytime you get above 60, you start to feel the humidity. 70 is just the uncomfortable kind of feeling. So we're kind of in between that, and we'll go for a high temperature day today, right around 90. Into this evening, milder temperatures there, still warm, 80 by the time we get to 9 o'clock. We will talk about, though, if we have any rain chances on the way, Ken, coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right, Anthony, we want to give our viewers a live look at the north side of the Beltline. This is a crash that Raleigh police are working on. It looks like it's on the entrance ramp of Capitol Boulevard onto these westbound lanes of I-440 there in the north side of the Beltline. You can see Raleigh police working that scene. It's just causing some backups this morning, but that's the usual that happens this time of the morning. So the actual ramp is open, but you can see the traffic is slowing down. And this is what it looks like on the sensors. That's the north side of the Beltline right there, the south side of the Beltline as well. The couple of crashes that popped up in the last hour or so that we've been monitoring. This one just happened actually in the town of Roseville on Main Street in the westbound lane near Young Street. We're not seeing any major delays in the area, but just in case you have to navigate Main Street this morning, which many of you do, leaving Roseville coming into the capital city, just know that you'll see some police activity there in that area. This is a crash that we've been monitoring now for the last hour or so. This is on I-40 in westbound lanes on Gorman Street proper. The accident is actually on Gorman Street. It's used to be back bumper to bumper traffic there on Gorman Street for quite some time, but it's clearly cleared up that you can see the usual morning congestion there in the westbound lanes of I-40.
Ken, thank you. The U.S. Open is bringing some well-known faces to the area, including, of course, Tiger Woods. WRAL's Jeff Hogan is live at Pinehurst 2 right now. And we've heard from Tiger before this week, Jeff. You know, he is well aware of the competition, but he's also just kind of happy to be here, too.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here because Tiger Woods, if anybody knows major championships, it's him. He's won 15 of them, okay? He finds himself at the top of the leaderboard again for another one. Brings out the best in the best players in the world. Tiger, of course, being one of them. Brings out the best fans as well because they have shown up for this championship and they're on the chase for Tiger right now. Tiger on the chase for another championship. If he can make that work, you can expect today when he tees it up on number 2. His body is healthy. He's healthy enough on a relatively flat course that it is. Says he needs to have his mental game intact as well. It looks like that after one hole. the intricacies of the greens, they can mess with you around here. He is chasing guys like Scotty Scheffler and others, but he has a pretty good track record as well.
I love U.S. Opens. I love the test of U.S. Opens. And I've had a little bit of success here back in '99 and 2005.
Yeah, you think? He didn't play in 2014, 2005. He was tied for third. In '99, he was runner-up to Payne Stewart. Right now, he is with a handful of guys at 1 under par after 1 hole of play. He's playing the 11th hole, his second of the day right now.
All eyes on Pinehurst number 2. Thanks, Jeff. And of course, WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune into WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins with the second round tomorrow. And Jeff Hogan and Gerald Owens will lead our coverage on WRAL live from Pinehurst 2. You can get all of your content on your phone, your tablet, and your TV too.
A special train service took its first trip from Raleigh to the U.S. Open this morning. This is a game changer when it comes to convenience for people in the Triangle. The Open Express will run on the schedule today through Sunday. The morning train, it left Raleigh Union Station at 7 o'clock this morning. It then leaves Cary at 7:15. The train should arrive at Pinehurst just before 9:15. The evening train will leave the Pinehurst Clubhouse at 6:35.
What's really exciting about it is we're taking approximately 1,300 cars off the road to Pinehurst over the next 4 days, relieving the traffic congestion, heading down into the U.S. Open, providing an easy, enjoyable way to enjoy this activity in our state.
And the head of the NCDOT was on the train this morning. Today, a panel of judges is expected to hear a motion to dismiss a lawsuit over gerrymandering of voting districts. Former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr sued legislators and the State Board of Elections. He argues the redistricted maps for congressional and state legislative seats don't offer voters a fair election. A similar case was overturned at the beginning of last year. The hearing starts at 10 o'clock this morning in Raleigh.
The man charged with killing Alicia Watts will stay in jail under the same bond. James Dunmore appeared in court yesterday where a judge denied his request to reduce his $1 million secured bond. Dunmore's attorneys have argued he shouldn't have to wait for his trial from jail. They're saying that's because an autopsy couldn't determine Watts' cause of death. Prosecutors say they are continuing to build evidence that they believe links Dunmore to the area where Watts' body was found. Watts was last seen on July 16th of last year. Dunmore was found in her SUV just a few days later, according to authorities. They ended up finding Watts' body in Montgomery County.
The State Bureau of Investigation says a man a Johnson County deputy shot and killed was identified as Jose Luis Rincon Lopez. It happened outside UNC Health Johnston in Clayton this week. The sheriff says the deputy was leaving the hospital in his patrol car when the man approached and tried to grab a gun. The two struggled and the deputy fired shots.
Today, the U.S. and Ukraine are expected to sign a security pact on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy. This agreement follows months of negotiations between the two nations. The deal is expected to commit the United States to continue training Ukrainian armed forces. But this also means more cooperation in producing weapons and equipment, as well as sharing intelligence. This would be the case for the next 10 years.
Parents are putting pressure on North Carolina lawmakers for more child care funding ahead of federal money for affordable child care before affordable child care runs out later this month. Parents and child advocates spoke at Freedom Park yesterday, asking state lawmakers to fill a $300 million gap. Democrats say the state has the money to fund the gap, which begins on July 1st. The group is calling on state Republicans to dip into the state's billion-dollar surplus to do it. And Governor Roy Cooper has proclaimed Pinehurst the home of American golf ahead of today's start of the U.S. Open. Cooper made the announcement in a video yesterday. Cooper says the tournament is expected to generate an economic impact of about $500 million for the state. The governor plans to be in attendance for the first round of the tournament today.
The vice president visited North Carolina on Tuesday. Just ahead, a recap of her visit and the policy she came to discuss.
And the drug known as gas station heroin is one step closer to a ban in North Carolina. Where the legislation stands now, coming up.
And it's going to be a warm forecast as we head through today. Overall, though, not too bad for where we could be. 90 this afternoon is where we're going. We're going to talk about, though, how long the 90s last and if we have any rain on the way to kind of help cool things down coming up after this break.
200,000 plus fans are expected to be coming through the gates here, Pinehurst number 2. And it'll grow every day, the daily total, as we go along. There's a good bunch out here today, no question. Expected more than 30,000 people here. And they're getting a slight breeze right now. So first time today at all that we felt any kind of air movement. Anthony Baglione, the WRAL Severe Weather Center, doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad start for us this morning, Jeff. We're not going to see a huge breeze. I wish I could say yes all day long we're going to keep that, but I think for the majority of us, a slight breeze here and there, but it's going to be probably close to 90 this afternoon. You can see our beautiful shot, though, out there, Pinehurst. A little bit of some movement on the flags, but not much. It's not going to be a ton to kind of help stir the air mass up, but we're not going to see those feels like values really off the charts. It's going to feel right about 90 or 91. What we have going on currently, high pressure kind of scooting in place right there. The winds around that high pressure rotate in a clockwise direction. So generally speaking, the winds that we would be seeing at the surface kind of coming there out of the northwest. And so that is a decently comfortable wind for us overall. 71 is currently where we sit around the triangle, 66 for Roxborough. We go to 90 this afternoon. That's a couple degrees above our normal of 87, but it's not going to be too bad. 87 still at 6 o'clock. And then if you're headed out here into this evening, we're still at 80 degrees right about 9 o'clock. A lot of sunshine, though, just a few clouds, and it should be a decent forecast overall. Let's talk about the tropics, because this system right here has been causing a ton of issues after the past couple days in Florida. This center, it's what we call an invest area, an investigation area, and I believe the hurricane hunters are actually going to be flying into this today. They're going to go out there and kind of see what's happening with this storm system. Is there any organization? Are we expecting any impacts? To answer that question, no, we are not expecting any major impacts from this one. Maybe some rough seas, some rip currents along our coast as we get into the weekend. But you notice all of those model plots. All of those are different models that we look at, different computer models. One may think there's going to be more cloud cover. One may think it's going to be hotter. One may think it's going to be cooler. And they kind of all come out with potential outcomes. And you see the majority of them, just about all of them, keep it offshore. And that leads us to say there's a pretty good probability that that will be the case. I don't expect any impacts with that one. This one, though, kind of in the Bay of Campeche right there, close to the Gulf of Mexico, this may have some development going forward, but it looks like it would take it into Mexico. So we'll watch that one. There's even another one that may try and form as we get into the next couple weeks. That one may have some impacts for the United States, but it's still way too early to say what that one's going to do. 94 tomorrow. We go to 91 on Saturday. Father's Day is looking great, right around 90, and we continue that trend there, Ken, of some hot 90s in the next week.
All right, Anthony, we start with this live picture now of Capitol Boulevard and I-440. You can see Raleigh police working a crash there right near the entrance ramp from Capitol Boulevard onto those westbound lanes. Of course, that's narrowed that lane there this morning, and it's causing some really some brake tapping going on, particularly if you're coming in onto those westbound lanes from Capitol Boulevard. This is what it looks like on the sensor this morning. You can see the brake tapping that's going on there. A couple of crashes we want to make you aware of. This one we've been monitoring here on Gorman Street. It is on Gorman Street proper near the I-40 westbound lanes. Right now, it's not causing any problems in the Gorman Street area. It was about an hour ago. It was bumper-to-bumper traffic there, but it's clearly in the clearing phase and probably off to the side of the road. Over in Roseville, got police working a crash on Main Street near Young Street. Right now, we're seeing some major bumper-to-bumper traffic in that crash scene in those westbound lanes of Main Street. You might want to take an alternate route, maybe Highway 401 if you coming into the capital city, just to be on the safe side. Elsewhere, those major routes like 540, we've seen some bumper-to-bumper traffic, as well as 885 on the Durham Freeway. That's what we can expect this time of the morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. Controversy at the southern border after President Biden's executive order suspended migrants from entering illegally. According to NBC News, Border Patrol is still releasing many of them into the U.S. A senior DHS official tells NBC News releases are still happening because agents don't have enough space to detain large numbers of arriving migrants. The new report comes as the ACLU has filed legal action against the Biden administration over his executive action. It says the measure violates U.S. immigration law.
This ban is patently illegal. The Trump administration enacted a near identical asylum ban. We sued over that. We won. We hope to win again.
DHS sources say illegal crossings have dropped from 4,000 a day to 3,000 under the new policy.
A woman is in police custody after barricading herself inside an FBI building in Seattle. Police say that the woman walked into the building while pointing a gun at her chest. The building went into lockdown as multiple agencies responded. That includes a team of negotiators. Police say that the woman put the gun down eventually after about an hour. She was arrested, but it's unknown exactly if she will be facing any charges.
We have an update on the 3 deputies and a suspect who were shot in Illinois after a standoff turned violent. All of the deputies and suspects were taken to the hospital. We've learned that 2 of the deputies are now home. The 3rd deputy and the suspect are recovering after surgery. This happened in Dixon, Illinois, about an hour and a half from Chicago. The sheriff's office says deputies were called to a home after someone threatened to take their own life. The deputies tried repeatedly to talk to the person inside. When they entered the home, the suspect fired at them. It is not clear if anyone else was inside the home at the time.
Election disinformation is becoming more and more prevalent ahead of this year's presidential election. Ted Lidner shares an element of social engineering that makes disinformation bots seem more trustworthy online.
Intelligence experts are ramping up warnings to political campaigns and government leaders over the increased risk of foreign adversaries trying to spread disinformation online ahead of the November presidential election. An official from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says Russia, China, Iran, and even Cuba are behind these efforts, with Russia proven to be the #1 threat.
Their effort to spread disinformation about U.S. elections, their invasion of Ukraine.
And new research is showing how these shifty players are able to mislead some people so easily.
On the internet, it pays to be female.
Foreign countries are using chatbots and fake social media accounts that pose as women to spread lies and propaganda.
Human beings are more likely to view women as warm and approachable, making it more likely that they view fake accounts as real humans.
And the mind trick is working, with fake female profiles getting more online interaction from real people than accounts with fake male personas.
The human brain remains remarkably easy to hack, thanks to age-old stereotypes about men and women.
While the goal wasn't to spread disinformation, even U.S.-based OpenAI saw the appeal of having a female voice for its programs.
When Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson declined OpenAI's request to use her voice on one of its newest AI programs, she said the company's CEO told her voice would be, quote, comforting to users. She threatened to sue after the company went with a voice instead that she said was eerily similar to her own.
One of the most iconic moments in golf happened in Pinehurst 25 years ago when Payne Stewart won the U.S. Open. He fist-pumped his way to a championship, but sadly died a few months later in a plane crash. He has been immortalized with a statue at Pinehurst No. 2. It's been moved to stand at the front entrance, front and center for fans to see. His caddy for 12 years, Mike Hicks, spoke with WRAL. Hicks said Stewart's impact on the world of golf still lives on today.
You know, with the statue here, you know, he's basically immortal now. I mean, he's here. You know, every time I'm here, I, go to the statue, take a picture. So his legacy will live on forever here in Pinehurst. And what, no better spot for him to be immortalized than the Mecca of golf.
And crews plan to move the statue back to the 18th hole after the tournament.
Johnson & Johnson will pay $700 million in its settlement tied to its talcum powders. This is because an investigation revealed the company misled customers about the safety of its talcum products. Legal battles and investigations into a link between cancer and talc have been ongoing for a decade. More than 50,000 claims have been filed against the company. Most involve women who have developed ovarian cancer. And as part of the settlement, the company no longer uses talc in any of its products.
8 climate change activists are facing federal charges after disrupting the congressional baseball charity game in Washington. Protesters who jumped on the field were wearing shirts reading "End Fossil Fuel." This is the video here. U.S. Capitol Police stopped the protesters. A group known as Climate Defiance took credit for the protest.
A ship belonging to famed British explorer Ernest Shackleton has been found more than 60 years after it disappeared. The wreckage of the vessel you see here on your screen is named the Quest. It was found off the coast of Canada on Sunday. The ship disappeared after hitting ice on May 5th, 1962. The Quest was found using sonar scans sitting more than 1,000 feet below frigid water. Shackleton died aboard the ship in 1922, marking the end of what was considered the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. The ship continued in service until it sank decades later. In 2022, researchers discovered another wreck of Shackleton's, the Endurance. That was a century after it was swallowed up by Antarctic ice.
Coming up, transgender swimmer Leah Thomas will not be competing at the Olympics. We'll explain the legal challenge a court dismissed.
Plus, we'll continue to stay on top of all things the 124th U.S. Open, live at Pinehurst after the break in just a bit.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We are in for a hot and humid day. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione tracking the radar. No rain for us, Anthony.
Yeah, no rain for us. It looks like maybe tomorrow evening we could see just a chance. But for the majority of us, we have this big high pressure area in place, and that's going to keep us pretty calm. A little bit of cloud cover coming up there from the south. But for the majority of us, it's just going to be a warm day, a little bit more humidity than the past couple of days. But it's not going to feel too bad for this time of the year. I think overall it'll be a nice day. 71 there around the triangle, 66 in Roxborough. We're at 73, Fayetteville and Clinton. Just pack that water if you're headed out today, and you should be good to go, Ken.
All right, we continue to follow breaking news here in the WRAL Traffic Center. Raleigh police working a crash on westbound I-440. It's right near the entrance ramp from Capitol Boulevard. You can see that is narrowed to one lane as a result of that crash. We'll continue to monitor it because you see the slowdown that it's causing in that particular area. This is what it looks like on the sensors this morning. You see the northbound lanes and also on the south side of the Beltline. We see the usual slowdown this morning. We're also monitoring a crash that just happened on I-40 near Page Road. We'll let you know what's that all about in the next half hour on Fox 50.
Fast-paced action here at the U.S. Open. Tiger Woods birdied his first hole. He parred his second. 1 under par, but no longer in the lead because Logan McAllister eagled the par 5 fifth. He's 2 under par and in the lead. We're going to talk about Akshay Bhatia's story out of Wake Forest next.
Police are investigating a shooting at a home near Village District in Raleigh. Sky 5 captured this home and parked car, which were hit by gunfire. Officers have not said whether the shooting was targeted or random. No one was hurt. No arrests have been made. We'll have more next on Fox 50 News, weather, and traffic. We'll see you there.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It is a warm but dry start for us this morning, and it's going to be a warm and hot afternoon. We're going to get you prepared, though, if you're headed out to the U.S. Open or across the area. We'll talk about what to expect coming up.
And crews are working to put out a fire on Diggs Drive. Coming up, what we know about this investigation.
And North Carolina voting maps are under scrutiny for possible gerrymandering once again. The hearing happening today on redistricted voting maps.
Major Championship Golf is back at Pinehurst number 2. I'm Jeff Hogan, and they are starting to sort things out here today about who will end up with their hands on the trophy on Sunday. Still early yet, but we have some names that you might recognize up on that leaderboard. I'm Jeff Hogan, and once again, great to have you all with us here, and pleasure to be in Pinehurst where it's a beautiful day again.
Oh, it is so beautiful, Jeff. It's only going to get hotter out there, though, for the players and the fans that are at Pinehurst. So we're going to get to Anthony coming up. But thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Chris Levingood. You know, yes, it's a hot one, but Anthony, it's a day where people got to stay hydrated out there.
Yeah, a lot of water is going to be key for us, and especially sunscreen if you're headed out, too. It's going to be kind of that UV index pretty high. On the whole, though, really not a bad forecast. We're dry. We could use a little bit of rainfall, but for the big event going on, and if you're headed out across the area, we're not expecting any major impacts, just the heat. Be careful out there. We take a live look right now. There's our Pinehurst camera. Love that shot. Everything going on. A little bit of a breeze, too. You notice that's really going to help it feel just a touch better. And we're not expecting humidity levels off the chart today, but it may feel a little bit more humid than where we were yesterday. We have a big area of high pressure in place right now. What that's doing is allowing the air above us to just stay sinking. It can't really rise and form thunderstorms, and that's what we will keep in place here for the next couple of days. 71 currently in Raleigh, 73 in Fayetteville. We're at 66. Good morning to Roxborough. Looking pretty decent for us today, but it will be hot. Keep that in mind. 90 by 4 o'clock, 80 at 9 o'clock this evening. We're watching a couple other areas, though, in the tropics that we're going to pay close attention to. We'll go over where they may be headed, Ken, coming up here in a few.
All right, Anthony, we want to update some breaking news we've been following. In those westbound lanes of I-440, there was a crash on that exit ramp that spit you on from Capitol Boulevard onto these westbound lanes. That crash is cleared in the last 10 minutes or so, which is a good thing, but you can still see the lingering delays that it's causing in that particular area. This is what it looks like on the sensor this morning. You can see it's clearing up quite a bit there in the northern part of the Beltline. Got a couple of crashes I want to bring your attention to this morning. This one just happened on I-40 in the westbound lanes near Page Road. You see the heavy bumper-to-bumper traffic that's causing there in that area. Just watch for some police activity in that area, and if you can, move over one lane to give officers an opportunity to work that crash scene safely. Another crash we've been monitoring this morning is on the I-40 westbound lanes on Gorman Street proper. It's on Gorman Street, not causing any problems in the area just now, but just keep an eye on that. It's probably in the clearing phase at this point of the morning. We talked about that Beltline and those congested areas. This is one of the troubled spots. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. The westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. Quite a bit of a slowdown there this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. We have some breaking news. A fire broke out this morning at a building on Diggs Drive in Raleigh. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the storage facility that we could see and smell the smoke burning at that facility. Kelsey, what does it look like right now?
Well, Michelle, crews are starting to clear out now, but you can still smell some of that smoke in the air, and you may be able to see some of the smoke in the distance there. But check out this video from Sky 5 earlier this morning where you can really get a look at all that smoke. Fire officials on scene say 8 to 9 storage units were damaged, but no one was hurt. Crews received a call about the flames around 6:15 this morning, and as we're expecting temperatures to heat up throughout the day, Division Chief Jake Corker says they need manpower to keep their crews safe.
Multiple firefighters on the scene help us continue to rotate crews through. Even they may stay on scene, we have an opportunity for them to rest, hydrate, and then work again after they get some downtime. So manpower is critical during this time of year.
And the cause of this fire is still under investigation, so we'll be sure to stay on top of this and keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A local golfer is making his showing at the U.S. Open today. Jeff Hogan in Pinehurst with what we know about Wake Forest native Ashkay Bhatia and the golf journey that led him to the national stage, and a big one, too.
It is a big stage, and it's a big story as well, and I've enjoyed telling it and talking to his parents over the last couple of weeks. Ashkay Bhatia is ranked 34th in the world. He's made $6 million in his young professional career. He's 22 years old, by the way, okay? So the kid is getting it done, there's no doubt. He's been rising up the ranks from his junior days, showing promise and at times dominance. The Wake Forest resident told his parents in 8th grade he didn't want to go to college because he wanted to be a professional golfer. It wasn't glamorous at times, but it tested his will and what the journey would take.
If we can't get a hotel, we can't check in till the next day, we'll sleep in the minivan for a night. I taught him that. I taught him how to travel, how to pack, how to check in at the airport.
Pretty strong-willed, wouldn't you agree, to be able to go on the road? He learned a lot from his parents, but now he just tells his parents, just be mom and dad. I'm going to handle my own business. He's been doing it so far. You can't argue with that. And we have a complete story on his rise to success coming up today at noon as well. We'll get to that just a little bit later. Heidi Kirk now with our transportation angle.
Jeff, you can feel the excitement from these thousands of fans pouring into the U.S. Open on day one. Now, as you can see, it's been a pretty steady stream of traffic all morning. We've spoken with people who traveled to Pinehurst from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere in between. Some of these people are first-timers, but others have been waiting to come back since 2014.
I came here in 2014, and I loved it. I was by myself. But I always said I would go back when it returned to Pinehurst, and I'm back.
And this steady stream of traffic you can see behind me has only been increasing since this morning, and this is what we expect throughout the weekend. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Pinehurst.
Today, a panel of judges is expected to hear a motion to dismiss a lawsuit over gerrymandering of voting districts. Former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr sued legislators and the State Board of Elections. He argues the redistricted maps for congressional and state legislative seats don't offer voters a fair election. A similar case was overturned at the beginning of last year. The hearing starts at 10 o'clock this morning in Raleigh.
Police are investigating a shooting at a home near the Village District in Raleigh. I want to show you video of Mayfield Road from Sky 5. You can see here on your screen. A home and a parked vehicle were shot at just before 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. But officers haven't said whether this shooting was targeted or even if it's random. But no one was hurt and no arrests have been made.
A man in Cary made an interesting and scary find while doing some landscaping. He found a grenade buried in his backyard. This happened at a home on Kings Fork Road in Cary. Cary police and the Raleigh bomb squad were called to that scene, and the military crew from Fort Liberty was able to safely remove it. A scan of the property found several rounds of ammunition, but no other devices.
Today, former President Donald Trump will return to the U.S. Capitol, and he'll meet with Republican lawmakers from the House and the Senate to talk about the biggest issues he's addressing in his presidential campaign. Trump will meet with House and Senate lawmakers separately. He plans to talk with them about mass immigration deportations, tax cuts, and other priorities for his potential second term. This marks Trump's first visit to the Capitol since his speech on the morning of January 6, 2021.
Today, community leaders from across the state will gather in Chapel Hill to talk about preventing suicide in our state. The statewide summit on suicide prevention is happening today at the UNC Friday Center. They'll talk about updates to the state's suicide prevention plan, the availability of resources, and the progress that's being made. According to the State Department of Health and Human Services, suicide is the second leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 18. It's the third leading cause of death for people 19 to 34. If you or someone you know is experiencing mental health challenges or having suicidal thoughts, there is help available. You can contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline anytime. That number is 988. You can also visit WRAL.com and search Get Help for additional resources in our area. Coming up, a mistake by NASA had people concerned about the well-being of astronauts on the International Space Station. The accidental alert that was sent out while the astronauts were sleeping.
And the last episodes of this season of Bridgerton, they are already out. All the excitement around this morning's 3 a.m. release ahead on What's Trending.
And before we head to break, we'll take you live out to Apex this morning. It is beautiful, but it's going to be hot. 90 degrees this afternoon. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione will share how long the heat will last.
Welcome back to Pinehurst. We see so many beautiful flowers and different species here all around the grounds. What you won't find are any white flowers because they don't want them to blend in with all the tenting. All the tenting is white around here, so they want that nice contrast there. And by the way, most of these flowers will all be donated to local charities when they are finished using them. They might need a little water on them. Anthony Baglione in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. They'll be glad not to get any of that water here this weekend while things are going on.
Yeah, it'll be nice as far as the timing is concerned, Jeff. It looks like maybe late tomorrow evening we could get just an isolated shower or storm. But over the next week or so, if you have plants sitting on the patio, the lawns, things like that, you're going to want to water them, especially during the first half of the day and then into the evening. You don't want to go out when it's, the heat of the day between about 5 o'clock and let's say 7 o'clock or so. Let's talk about where we go. Humidity levels. You can see we're definitely going up and down the next couple days. That's just the season we are in. Technically still spring, almost here to our summer season officially. We're going to watch tolerable conditions for us the next couple days. It really is not going to feel too bad. It will be enough though compared to the past couple of days where you probably will notice it, but it's not going to be where you walk outside and it's just super uncomfortable all day long. I do think though the lakes are going to be probably pretty busy. The beaches as we head into the weekend, there's Lake Gaston. You can see just how calm it is. Not much movement there on the water. The trees are nearly still. Just a couple clouds floating off in the distance, and that will be the theme as we go through the rest of today. Mostly sunny skies overall. 71 is currently where we're at in Raleigh, 73 in Fayetteville, low to mid 70s for just about everyone, 75 currently in South Hill. It comes with just a slight breeze, not much for us, and we go to 90 this afternoon. A mix of sun and clouds, overall not a bad day at all. 94 tomorrow, that will be the hottest for us over the next 7. Keep in mind, it will likely feel like 98 tomorrow afternoon. So that's going to be a day, especially if you're headed out, have lots of water handy, protect those pets, things like that. It does get a little bit better into the weekend as far as a bigger drop in humidity levels behind a front that comes through tomorrow. And I think on the whole, it should be a decent forecast here for the Father's Day weekend. Let's talk about the tropics, though, because it's already starting to get a little bit busier. We've actually been off to a pretty slow start so far. Unfortunately, probably not going to last. Here's a system offshore, 20% chance of development. This one is not likely to do anything as far as become a tropical storm, things like that. It may continue out closer to Bermuda, so that unfortunately would not be great, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a hurricane or anything like that. It may just bring some higher surf to our coast, some rip current threat, and just some rough surf conditions the next couple days. We look at where we go, though, for the next 7. 94 on our Friday, 91 Saturday. For Father's Day, we're right about 90, 93 Monday. You get another 93 there on Wednesday, so that's just kind of the theme we are in. Hot and humid conditions the next couple days, but manageable for where we could be this time of the year.
All right, thank you, Anthony. The U.S. Open is underway at Pinehurst #2. This is the 4th time our nation's championship has been held there, and it's gearing up to be the hottest U.S. Open ever at Pinehurst. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s to lower 90s, as Anthony was saying. The USGA has set up hydration stations that will be in high demand the rest of the week for sure. One doctor with UNC tells WRAL about the things you may notice golfers doing to prevent heat-related illnesses.
You'll see them kind of trying to prevent that by getting as many breaks as possible from the heat, using umbrellas to kind of protect themselves, taking plenty of water breaks.
Over 100 EMS workers are standing by in case someone has some sort of emergency. Those water stations, they're also hooked up in a way where they don't have to be refilled, so fresh water is constantly available.
American transgender swimmer Leah Thomas will not be competing in next month's Olympic Games. Thomas lost a legal challenge against rules that blocked her from competing in elite women's races. In the legal challenge, Thomas says that World Aquatics rules are invalid and unlawful. The Court of Arbitration for Sport found that Thomas is not eligible to challenge. That's because she's not a current member of U.S. Swimming. Responding to the ruling, World Aquatics said it is, quote, dedicated to fostering an environment that promotes fairness, respect, and equal opportunities for athletes of all genders, end quote. Thomas was the first transgender athlete to win an NCAA college title in 2022. And it turns out Salt Lake City, Utah could host the 2034 Olympic Winter Games. The International Olympic Committee's Future Host Commission recommended the city after a visit in April. Salt Lake City still needs to be confirmed in a vote by the International Olympic Committee. That could happen in July. Salt Lake City hosted the Winter Games in 2002.
And swimmers in our area are preparing to board flights for the U.S. Olympic trials in Indiana this weekend. This is what it looked like yesterday during a send-off from the Triangle Aquatic Center. Dozens of supporters waved flags and offered well wishes as the swimmers walked through a huge balloon arch. We spoke with them after the send-off.
To see the support and people come out of their days on a weekday to come out and support us in the morning, it really shows how much support Carrie and Raleigh has for TAC.
And when we're in Indianapolis, there's people back home, watching us and cheering for us and supporting us is really cool.
And the swimmers are training for the Olympic trials at TAC, and Team USA will be training there before they head to Paris. Today, an event designed to provide resources to people facing homelessness or at-risk situations is happening in downtown Raleigh. Raleigh's Housing and Neighborhoods Department will host Meet Us at the Square. People can get a free health screen, a haircut, and a shower. There will also be experts helping with employment, legal issues, and veterinarians to check on pets. It's happening at Moore Square from 10 this morning until 2 p.m.
Elon Musk and SpaceX are being sued over allegations of sexual harassment in the workplace. 8 former SpaceX employees say Musk had them fired in 2022 after they raised concerns about his workplace behavior. They claim he treated female employees as sexual objects and used, quote, lewd sexual banter, end quote. SpaceX's president says the company investigates all complaints of harassment.
Right now in the WRAL Live Center, we were hoping to show you a very cool NASA spacewalk that was supposed to be underway, but that spacewalk has been postponed. And the reason, the astronauts were experiencing some discomfort with their spacesuits. That spacewalk was supposed to happen at 8. NASA astronauts Tracy Dyson and Matt Dominic were taking part in it. They were going to remove a faulty electronics box outside the ISS, and they were also going to swab the exterior of the space station to gather samples for study of microorganisms. So that is all on hold for now. The astronauts have taken off their suits, and they will be staying inside the space station for now.
Certainly want to be cautious for something like that. Thanks, Renee. Only on WRAL, a heartwarming welcome home at RDU as a local World War II veteran returned from Normandy.
Look at you! Wow!
How was your trip? David Friedman is a dear friend to the Brooks family, and he has a lot.
Now, 99-year-old David Friedman came home yesterday after making the trip for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. The Brooks family of Chapel Hill greeted him at RDU, and they forged a friendship after Henry Brooks matched with Friedman for a pen pal assignment in middle school. Friedman was happy to share his experience at the Normandy anniversary with them during that time.
80 years ago, I was just doing my job like everybody else. This time, I acted as if I were a hero.
This is really essential and amazing that my kid gets to experience this firsthand, both of my kids.
Friedman was a laboratory medical technician in the military during World War II.
Now to a story of 2 sisters, identical twins who after nearly 9 decades are still inseparable. This is Lori Hoots and Louis Lasher, Lois, I should say. The twins were born in 1934 in their family's farmhouse in North Dakota. And as the story goes, their grandmother delivered them because rain that day delayed the doctor. The duo, who are now roommates, always dress alike. The twins will turn 90 on Sunday, so happy birthday to them. A cat in Vermont now has a doctoral degree. Yes, this is Max. Well, Dr. Max. He's been hanging around Vermont State University's campus for years, and he visits with students and visitors on tours. The school's dean of admissions says Max feels like he has a job to do when welcoming people to the campus. Max does have an owner, but because he lives so close, Max is, he's always around. And get this, the school doesn't actually offer doctorates, so Max is in an exclusive club all on his own. Dr. Max. Well, the ultimate rivalry will be reignited on Labor Day, and it will be putting stomachs to the test. Netflix has announced professional competitive eaters Joey Chestnut and Takeru Kobayashi will be facing off in a hot dog eating contest. It'll be called Chestnut versus Kobayashi Unfinished Beef, and it'll be streamed live on September 2nd. The last time the two faced off was at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest back in 2009. The announcement comes a day after Chestnut was actually banned from the Nathan's contest because he signed a deal with a rival plant food company.
Ooh, hot dog scandal. Ooh. All right, so look at this right here. A man in Vermont recorded this video of a bear just maxing and relaxing in a hammock in a backyard. It was taken earlier in the week in the town of Waitsfield, but the man said he has seen plenty of bears in his yard. This is the first time, though, he's seen one relaxing on his outdoor furniture. You almost forget, Michelle, that it has the power to kill someone.
Oh, I know, because they're so cute. All right, before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.